U.S. says World War II pacts didn't decide Taiwan's status. Record high. More graduates buying homes in Taiwan. Japan buys 90% of Taiwan's pineapple exports. U.S. says framework for TikTok ownership deal agreed with China. Australia warns social media over age checks. China says Nvidia violated anti-monopoly law. Acting legend Robert Redford dies aged 89. Elderly Austrian nuns break out of nursing home.
Hello everyone, I'm Oceana. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. It is Wednesday, September 17th, World Patient Safety Day, and here are our top stories. And for today's Taiwan news, the American Institute in Taiwan recently stated that documents such as the Cairo Declaration, Potsdam Declaration, and San Francisco Treaty did not determine Taiwan's final status. The U.S. State Department confirmed AIT's remarks, stressing China distorts World War II documents to justify coercion against Taiwan. A housing survey shows 1.7% of Taiwan's 2025 first-half homebuyers were fresh graduates, a record high. Average price hit 12.06 million NTD, up 6% year-on-year. Analysts cite the 2023 Youth Loan Program and parental support boosting young buyers. Taiwan's Foreign Minister Lin Jialong said Japan bought over 90% of Taiwan's pineapple exports this year, recalling Japan's swift support after China's 2021 ban. Former PM Shinzo Abe's photo with Taiwan pineapples boosted the Freedom Pineapple campaign, symbolizing strong democratic friendship. And in global news, Washington has reached a framework deal with China on TikTok's U.S. operations, paving the way for American ownership as the world's two biggest economies negotiate a trade deal. The framework was set in talks in Madrid, and President Donald Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping are expected to complete the deal on Friday. Trump said the talks had gone very well. China confirmed a framework agreement, but said no deal would be made at the expense of its firm's interests.
We have a framework for a TikTok deal. The two leaders, President Trump and Party Chair Xi, will speak on Friday to complete the deal, but we do have a framework for a deal with TikTok.
The deadline for a sale has already been extended 3 times, with the latest delay set to end on the 17th of September. Oracle was among a group of firms that would enable TikTok operations to continue in the U.S. if a deal between Washington and Beijing is finalized. The ownership of TikTok has been a major sticking point in U.S.-China trade talks. Observers saw it as key to Beijing's efforts to negotiate lower tariffs and fewer trade barriers with the U.S., one of China's biggest markets. Besant announced the framework deal after the second day of negotiations to end a trade war that, at its peak, saw tariffs on some goods reach 145%.
Australian authorities said on Tuesday that social media platforms should not require age verification for all account holders starting in December, when a ban on children under 16 having accounts goes into effect. The government released guidelines on how platforms such as TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, Reddit, X, and Instagram should apply the world's first ban on children using social media, beginning on December 10th. It said verifying the ages of all account holders would be unreasonable.
Australia's parliament enacted the ban last year, giving the platforms a year to work out its implementation. The platforms face fines of up to 50 million Australian dollars for systemic failures to prevent children younger than 16 from holding accounts. Critics of the legislation fear that banning young children from social media will affect the privacy of all users, who would have to prove they're older than 16. Inman Grant said claims that the ban would subject every Australian account holder to age verification were a scare tactic. Communications Minister Anika Wells said the government seeks to keep platform users' data as private as possible.
According to a preliminary probe, China's market regulators said on Monday that Nvidia violated the country's anti-monopoly law, adding that Beijing would continue its investigation into the U.S. chip giant. Shares of Nvidia were down around 2% in pre-market trading. Late last year, China's State Administration for Market Regulation opened an investigation into Nvidia in relation to the acquisition of Mellanox and certain agreements made during the acquisition.
Nvidia acquired the Israeli technology company that develops network solutions for data centers and servers in 2020, in a deal approved by China at the time with certain conditions. In a preliminary investigation, the SAMR said Nvidia had violated China's anti-monopoly laws in relation to that acquisition and its conditions. China's market regulator did not specify how Nvidia allegedly breached the country's laws. Tensions between Beijing and Washington appear to be rising on the technology front. On Saturday, China opened two separate probes into semiconductors. One is an anti-dumping investigation into certain chips imported from the U.S., while the other is an anti-discrimination inquiry into U.S. restrictions on China's chip industry.
U.S. acting legend Robert Redford, known for roles in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and The Sting, has died at age 89. In a statement, his publicist Cindy Berger said Robert Redford passed away on September 16th at his home at Sundance, in the mountains of Utah, the place he loved, surrounded by those he loved. He will be missed greatly. The family requests privacy. The Oscar-winning star of Out of Africa was also known for founding the Sundance Film Festival in Utah.
He won an Academy Award for Best Director in 1980 for Ordinary People. Redford announced he was retiring from acting in 2018, having said in 2016 that he was tired of acting. The actor's most recent post on his Instagram page saw him wish himself a happy birthday on the 18th of August. Featuring a set of pictures of him throughout his career, he thanked fans for their support through every step, saying it meant the world, and referenced his achievements from his breakout movies to receiving the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Redford's biggest contribution to film was arguably Sundance Film Festival, which helped boost independent filmmaking in the late 80s and early 90s, to rival the period which launched his career.
3 octogenarian nuns have defied their diocese, running away from their nursing home and returning to their former convent in Salzburg, Austria, which they are now occupying. On September 4th, Sister Regina, 86, Sister Rita, 81, and Sister Bernadette, 88, were turned to Schloss Goldenstein, the Alpine convent, and the girls' school where they had spent most of their lives, much of the displeasure of the local church. On arrival, the nuns found that their former residence no longer had electricity or running water, so their supporters brought them water and emergency generators.
The sisters' former students have been helping and organizing a daily routine for them, while a family doctor is available to offer medical care. Since returning to the convent, the nuns have become active on Instagram, amassing more than 10,000 followers in little over a week. On their account, they document their daily routine of praying, eating and attending Mass together, as well as their now frequent interviews with journalists from all around the world. The nuns' long-term future at the monastery is still uncertain, though they now have electricity and hot water in their rooms. They remain firmly opposed to returning to the nursing home.
The answer for yesterday was A, condemned. The United Nations quickly condemned the use of chemical weapons in the conflict. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into today's news. U.S. says framework for TikTok ownership deal agreed with China. Number 1, pave the way. 为什么铺路? The new trade agreement is paving the way for increased exports. Number 2, the sticking point. 争议点. The main sticking point in the negotiations was the price. Number 3, finalize. 完成定稿. We finalized the contract yesterday. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comment section, and the correct answer will be announced tomorrow. Getting its start in 2019, World Patient Safety Day was adopted through the World Health Organization through their 72nd World Health Assembly that year, with a resolution titled Global Action on Patient Safety. Major national and international stakeholders have all been involved in promoting and advocating for patient safety through this important annual event. And that's all for today's FUNDAY News. Be sure to tune into FUNDAY News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join FUNDAY for free. I'm your host, Oceana, and I'll see you next time.